John Akash. John Akash.
Yes, sir.
Ramakrishnan.
Yes, sir.
Rishana. Rishana Umar.
Yes, sir.
Rosia Sabu.
Yes, sir.
Sri Vidya.
Yes, sir.
Shruti Prasad.
Present, sir.
Someone has joined just recently. Rishana, John Akash. Malavika. That is Malavika. Malavika. Yes, okay. Okay, so what we are going to see today is in the unit 1, the different media management models. Okay, let me send the screen. It's already there. Wait. Okay, so media management models. Media as a business. Because no, there have been many. There have. So today's class is about media management models, and this is just a what you say brief introduction about how this media has become a business, and where comes the marketing, where comes the advertising, and what are the different model and what different approaches and different plans that can help to act this media management as a business model. Okay, as we know, there are many business models are there, but as we discussed earlier, the management functions and management skills which are common and very specific to the media industry. Likewise, even the business models which have been proposed by many scholars in the field of management can be adapted, and certain updations or amendments can be done for according to the fitting of the media industry. So today's session's learning outcome is to learn about the growth of media as a business, how marketing and product selling lent a path for media-based industries to grow, and few media-based business model plans and their distinctive features. So this session will be just an introductory idea about media as a business and what are the models and what are the different elements and characteristics which are involved in this media business model and what are their distinctive features. So let me get into the topic. So while the production, if you take media as a business, while the production and manufacturing companies oriented business focuses on the production and they try to sell products. Very clear? Production and manufacturing oriented business focus on the production and they try to sell their products. The customer oriented business focuses on the needs of the customer and produces accordingly. And it's being aware of the marketability of the services or products sold. So there are two different industries: production and manufacturing sectors and the customer oriented business. The basic concept of business and marketing is to reach out with the customer with the product he might be interested in. I think nobody is having a second opinion or second thought in this. The basic concept of business and marketing is to reach out with the customer with the product he might be interested in. So this leads the path to the mass manufacturing. Even maybe the production and manufacturing business or even the customer-oriented business, it leads to mass manufacturing. So when you go back as I said, no, now as I said in the beginning, see this media as a business. Then only we can take all these business models which have been developed by the business management scholars and the business management managers have been taken into account for consideration and updation. So for this, we will go back to see the history. Historically, where did this concept of marketing came? There was no marketing concept implicitly or explicitly in existence. If you go back and see the history, no, in a business, there is no concept of marketing. When goods were barely produced by machineries, people were dependent on agricultural production, domestic animals, and understood the barter system. Okay, that barter system, that exchange of goods and products. Okay, people produced by the agricultural products and the domestic animals, and they come to the markets and where they used to exchange things. So that is the what do you say, the barter system. However, the growth of this growth of the civilization and discovery of the sea routes in search of newer land and markets followed the machine era came to change this. Earlier in this barter system, there is no concept of marketing. There will be a market. It is a place, not the concept of marketing, where they will produce agriculture products and they will exchange it. So this after the new lands and exploring and discovering to the new lands led the way to new people aware of new products and new things. Upon using these products, they developed a special interest in these products and the demand rose. Okay, so you see, when the exploring started, only the people came to know about the new products. That means came to aware about these new products. However, the machines becoming sophisticated, production went up, and there was a surplus of goods. So the mass manufacturing, the machines became sophisticated, the production went up, and there becomes the surplus of goods. Now, the basic problem after this mass manufacturing, the surplus of goods, the basic problem shifted from that of production to distribution. That was not during the barter system. Okay, problem shifted from the production to distribution. Now the concentration have been more towards the distribution. Hence, the business developed a new channel of distribution to reach out the people with their goods. This happened during 20th century. And it was the era of distribution. Due to mass production, mass distribution took place. And the problem, then what happened? No, the problem slowly shifted to convince people to buy product. You see, in the barter system, there was no marketing. It's a market. That's exchange of things. And after this, people started exploring and entering into the new land, and people are getting aware of new products and new things which has come from other parts of the country or other countries. They started attracting towards those products, and it went on, they scaled up the production, and it becomes the problem towards the production. The produced goods has to be distributed to the people, so the problem becomes the distribution. After this distribution, they started you see, developing new approaches and new methods and new channel of distribution to reach out their products to the people, which happened during 20th century. And after the mass production, then what is the problem? The problem that they are going to face is to convince people to buy products. That is, to create a market. This problem arose, more and more products started flooding the market due to heavy productions. But the distribution mechanism was not existent at that time, and the responsibility of the people, the marketers, was to convince people to buy a product. So distribution mechanism was not existent at that time, and the world entered into the era of selling. Demand was created to augment this. the producers also resorted to advertising. See how beautifully the marketing and advertising concepts entered into the business. During barter system, no marketing. After that, the production to distribution. So the distribution channel is marketing. So after this mass production, they have to what do you say? Develop new modes and new methods and new channel of distribution. There comes the marketing, and after the mass production of this marketing, and they started flooding the market due to heavy production, and the distribution mechanism was not there. Then the world entered into the era of selling. That is the demand was created. To augment this, the concept which came into existence is the advertising. So how the marketing advertising came into business, this is just a small introduction, just an overview of how the marketing and advertising concept entered into our industry business. Okay. Next, by the middle of the 20th century, when this mass production and mass selling were in place, the consumers were the center of attraction. Buyers started to weigh their choices and are asking for goods of their choice and not what the manufacturer wanted to sell. See, history. This is the genesis of the business models. So the marketers, you see, the buyers wanted their choice of product, and they don't want what the manufacturer wanted to sell. This created marketers and slowly led the path for manufacturers to reach their target market with their products. So the consumer were the center of attraction. So they want their choice of product, not what is available in the market. So with the advent of marketing, media also grew by multifold. Because media is the everyone believe that media is the carrier for of advertising and communicating the target market. When industrialization and modernization spread all across the globe, the media industry also grew. And thus only the many other businesses came under the umbrella of media business, which was, traditionally what are those medias? Press, radio, television, broadcasting. Now, it's new media, that is internet. The Peter Drucker, who is the author of the practice of management, who is considered as the father of modern management also, suggested business purpose is to create customers. The purpose of business is to create customer, irrespective of any business. You see, so if you take up any business, no, even the manufacturing business or the production business or the customer-oriented business or consumer goods, everything should depend on media because of this industrialization and modernization and the globalization. So obviously, if that industry grows, the media industry also parallelly grows. So there is an effect in the development towards the industrialization and the media industry. So keeping that in mind, the Peter Drucker's suggestion, business purpose is to create customers. So how to create customers? The only two factors and two main elements that is helpful to create customers are the marketing and advertising concept. I think now you will be able to understand that how the marketing came and what the advertising. The marketing is distribution channel, developing the distribution channel, and what you say, the advertising is convincing people how to selling goods. Okay, so with this introduction, let me get into the see what are the different various models that has been developed and it has been used in the industry. So first we have to understand the elements of media business model framework and what are its distinctive features. So they have listed out some four elements: scaling of business models, value in content production and distribution, drivers of value of advertising, media, personalization. If you divide these elements into two, first two will deal about the knowing about the business idea and what is the concept of their business and how to distribute, and the content production and distribution channel. And the second, third, and fourth element will deals about the advertising, convincing, and media personalization. Again, the customer oriented. So distribution channel and customer oriented are the four elements. As I said, no marketing and advertising. Marketing is just distribution channel. Here, first two elements will be marketing oriented, and second to the third and fourth will be like what you say, the advertising oriented. So we will see the distinctive features of each and every element element of this business model framework. So the scaling of business model. So this is the first element in a what is it? This is the first element to understand the media business model framework. In order to understand the complete spectrum of the media different scales, you just see the figure diagram. No, here head, shoulder, and tail. Okay, head, shoulder, and tail. Here the mass media is at the top, depicting the head. The second, mid-sized professional publishing as the shoulder, and the micro media outlets with the small audiences as tail. So these are the having significant different characteristics, leading a variety of business models and approaches to scaling business. See, that we will be coming to know what is this, how this head, shoulder, and tail will work with the industry later. If you go through all these other elements, no, then you will be coming to know mass media, publishing, and micro media outlets. Micro is tail, and the publishing mid-sized media is at the middle level, and head is the what do you say, the mass media, which depicts the head. So the characteristics of this differ, which include the audience focus, advertising models, and cost of content creation. See, if you see the diagram, mass media, publishing house, and the micro media outlet, and all these characteristics will differ in the sense of audience focus, advertising models, and cost of content creation. Audience focus. Okay, mass media, which is the head in this diagram, head at that is the top level of this diagram, which only access broad audiences, whereas further down the tail, highly selective niche audiences according to their geographical location or interest. That what we said is the mid-side professional publishing houses. So audience focus, you have to see the mass media, publishing house, and the micro media outlets. And advertising models at different levels of scale. Dedicated, aggregated, or combined advertising sales models are appropriate. So even if it is you're taking for mass media, the different model has to be different shares of total advertising has to be associated with these models. And if it is a professional publishing house, it is a different model of advertising has to be used. And it's a micro media outlet, so it is a aggregated, a combined advertising sales models will be appropriated for this different level of scales, which is the advertising models. And cost of content creation. We all know mass media is associated with high production values, which means creating content in the mass media, which means expensive. Productions costs are rapidly reducing, but the premium place and the creative work means cost will remain high in the head, in the mass media, and relatively it will be low when compared to the mid-sized audience, mid-sized level of advertising content, and the cost of content creation will be low, relatively low in the micro level, micro media retail outlet. However, production cost for most other forms of content has become very low when compared to mass media, because this is primarily associated with the labor rather than the technology cost, because it can be low due to the lifestyle advantage of the content creators. So the interesting fact about this framework is there is no right or wrong place to be placed in sequential order. Okay, head, shoulder, and tail, there is no right or wrong place to place in the sequential order. Head should come first, that is the mass media, the professional publishing should come next, and the micro media outlet should come in the third position. This means nothing is more or less advantageous than each other. It only notes that advertising or other revenue models and content creation mechanism need to be aligned with the audience. Specific content for specific audience. If you go with the mass media, no, we can't do specific content for specific audience. The mass media, the name itself telling it's mass audience. As the other frameworks show, attracting niche audience can result in stronger revenue relative cost. That is the second and the third one. That is the mid-sized and the tail-oriented. So, in this framework, while designing and developing a model, a multi niche model, which is effectively monetized, more effective than traditional mass media approaches. So, it allows sharing of overheads and sales efforts. So, any company should, you see, any business or any company should concentrate on these three levels of management. So it is irrespective of the head, shoulder, and tail. Each and every level has its own what do you say? Has its own advantages. So the second element in business model framework is value in content production and distribution. Digital channels have resulted in a dramatic fall in the cost of content distribution. So very important is the content production and distribution. So this means the content creators like film producers, writers, researchers can readily distribute their content. This was not the case some 5 or 10 years before, where the producers, the writers, researchers can readily distribute their content directly to their audience if they prefer in that way. There is a some substantial ever-growing value to content producers in direct distribution, including control over content, user relationship, not having to share revenue. Okay, so that is the uh, parts and elements that involve the direct distribution, where the producer have the control over content, and the producer can build an end user relationship and not necessarily to share his revenue or her revenue. So as user generated content grows as a factor, where engaged directly in the content creation process. Distributors such as, you see, distributors here. If you are a producer or a writer, no, you can host or you can post your content. Now, what we can see, for example, the people who are doing this, all this YouTube, running YouTube channels, no, it's a perfect example where the direct distribution, where the producer have the control over content and he can build the end user relationship very easily. They can get the customer comments and reviews, and he's taking the suggestions directly from the customers or the users, and he's he's not sharing his revenue to any other company or any other distributor. So now comes the distributors such as these broadcasters, internet people, publishers, and the agents, media agents, media advertising agencies will continue to play an important role in the media landscape. As long as they can effectively establish and build distinctive value add, including brand aggregation, scalable infrastructure, and attract desirable audiences, it would be very difficult for the distributors to be in the place. You see, the broadcasters, publishers, and agents. You see, now you can see people running YouTube channels. Then, what is the role of these broadcasters? What is the job for these broadcasters, publishers, and advertising agencies? Because everyone knows the technology and they are generating content. That's what they call it as user generated content. So, value creation in content production and distribution continues to evolve. It leads to, that is why they have mentioned these distributors should establish and build a distinctive value add, including brand aggregation, scalable infrastructure, and attract the desirable audiences. It leads to the strategic choices for content producers and distributors. It helps them to choose their work and business partners. You see, now you can understand the role of a distributor, and you see the challenges of a broadcaster or an agent or a professional publisher in this modern digital era or in the digital channels, where the producer is having the direct control over the content and the relationship with the users. So you have to develop in such a way a new method or new mode of approach to reach your content, to distribute the content by building what you say the brand value added creative content. Everything has to be taken care. So this is one of the what is the major challenge in distribution in these digital channels by the recognized distributors, broadcasters, publishers, and agents. Then going to the third element, drivers of value of advertising. So if you see this value of advertising, paid content is visibly irreplaceable. It is in demand through subscriptions. We all know, no, the demand is through subscriptions, pay-per-view, and there are other mechanisms also. However, the broad trend is that content creation is increasingly supported by advertising. This is becoming more prominent as differentiation emerges in the value and pricing of advertising. So advertising in mass media is priced largely by audience size. So advertising in mass media is priced largely by audience size. The four, okay, how it has happened. The four additional key drivers for the value of advertising. Let me see. What are the four key drivers for the value of advertising? Advertising outcome, access target demographic, point of insertion, and personalization. The original concept of advertising was exposing an audience to messages, exposure, interest acquisition. However, advertising can now be linked directed to audience taking action through expressing interest or making buying decisions now. But in mass media, it was not the case, that they have to wait for the effect or the impact of the advertising. See, now what they are doing now, action through immediately expressing their interest or making buying decision by just, what you say, clicking. That's the concept of pay-per-click. What this is now, PPC. When you put it on a Google, if you're searching for any product or any sort of things, no, certain what you say, some few search results have been listed out in the name of ads. So that means if you click that link and if you get into that website, no, what the people will get the, like you see the concept of pay-per-view or pay-per-click, PPC. So this was possible in only this digital channel. So the purpose of advertising, the outcome of advertising is to expose audience the messages. Second one, point of insertion. Advertising is used to insert solely in distribution channels, in newspaper or between TV programs. Okay, the point of insertion is very important. So it has to be a professional distribution channels. Okay, many of you people have been getting annoyed with the, what you say, with this advertising that pops up in the browser when you are using, when you are interested in doing some searching or doing some work in the internet. When it annoyingly pops up, so the point of insertion is very important. It has to be inserted solely in the distribution channels only. That is a professional distribution channel, device distribution content. That means solely in the distribution channel, that is newspaper or between TV programs or the, because people know this is the point where we are going to see the advertising, and they know the, what is it, the television and broadcasting people know they used to have their own what is the strategy or preparing the chart of advertising slots. See, if you watch that prime time channel, no, where you can see all these products that has been broadcasted, some advertising has been broadcasted. If you watch, what you say, if you watch kids TV or kids channel programs, no, with most of the health things. But if you watch the kids program between 10 to 12, where the parents won't be sitting along with the kids, no, it won't come all these health drinks and all. The health drinks and health drink advertisements will come with the, so the point of the right time. So the point of insertion is very important for any media. So that has to be only solely done to the distribution channels, which is the newspaper and television programs. And the multiplicity of new approaches to inserting advertising are emerging, including on the end user device such as mobile phone. Insert content is for an example product placement. I think you, if you have been searching for some travel or some vehicle, no, where in within 2 or 3 hours, no, if you switch on your mobile or if you switch on your digital internet browser, no, you'll be getting that sort of advertising. So it's very very important point of insertion and the in the new digital channel. And the third element character key driver for advertising is access target demographic. Accessing generic demographics that are highly desirable, such as CEOs, increase value for most advertisers. More targeted, more value. However, some advertisers are looking to access very specific profiles. As it becomes possible to target these niches, advertising value increases. So the CEO increases value for most advertisers. So more targeted, more value. And the personalization, degree of personalization, individual demographic content. Personalization is one of the strongest drivers of advertising value. And this will be covered in the fourth element in detail. Okay, so media personalization. So personalization is a large part of the future of media. So in order to personalize content and advertising, there are multiple requirements, including compiling data about audience members, content serving platforms that allow the content, and ads to be altered on the fly depending on the viewer. So media personalization is not an easy task or easy job. So it's a very serious job. And there are 4 levels of personalization of content and advertising, each of which leads to increased value. So in the degree of personalization, like nil, in that level, most content and advertising is not personalized. You see, most content and advertising in this level, nil level, is not personalized. So it is not currently possible to personalize content on mass distribution channels such as broadcast television and newspapers. You see, broadcast TV, metropolitan newspapers, radio, cable TV, and trade specialist magazines, podcasts, internet, interactive TV or IPTV or mobile delivery. Here, the personalization is nil, and they can't. Most of the content advertising can't be personalized in this level. The content personalization is possible by being associated with the audience-specific content. Trade magazines, targeted cable TV channels. That means local cable TV channels attract only particular audience where local advertisement will play a role. That is the targeted content, effectively enabling personalized advertising. So the content oriented, in this content oriented level, no, the local cable TV channels, trade magazines, specialized magazines, like you see auto car or automobile, the magazines which are what you say, the specialized automobile magazines and some electronic magazines, some targeted robotic magazines. So that sort of content, that sort of personalization is possible, or only possible because it has been associated with the audience specific content. Audience specific content, and the demographic level of advertising is how the media personalization can be done using this demographic is advertising and content can be personalized for a particular demographic area. The requirements are content serving platform, demographic data. These requirements should be able to match the viewers with a profile. It can be generated, for example, by how this can be generated by cookies or IP addresses. So, on the other level, individual level, to personalize the value of advertising is personalization for the individual requires both audience profiles possibly generated to the registration process, individual identify audience members individually. That means audience profiling, audience identification, and registration. So I think in most of you have visited some malls where they will be taking your basic information. And if you have been visited any of the car showroom or two-wheeler showroom, no, they will take your that is they call it as individualized marketing generated through the registration process. So whenever you go and visit some websites or whenever you go and inquire about some products, no, where the contact address won't be given directly. They'll be asking you to fill the form. So through a registration process where they will be able to identify the audience members individually. So by identifying them individually, how they will reach you is online and mobile content delivery or interactive TV channels. It is not now. It is not out in our country. Even using the interactive television channels that enable the individual personalization. And it is important to note that even if the distribution channel being used enables higher levels of personalization, there are a range of other requirements for personalization. Okay, what we listed out the different levels for personalization are it's not the list. There is an exhaustive list where it will range to the other level of personalization also. Are you clear with these four elements? Scaling up of business models, scaling up of business models, value in content production and distribution, drivers of value of advertising and media personalization. So, uh, so with this, as I said, no, this is not only the enables the high level of personalization. There are other range of requirements for personalization. And as a media, when coming to media industry, no, the business model becomes the message here. Business plans like magazine publishing, advertising agency, photography, publisher, and other media companies' business can be counted as some of the branches accounted under this media. Media slowly evolved as a business and started as a medium of communication. So these process took time slowly, and advertising units, PR units started flourishing. When it comes to media business, no, the advertising units of media and PR units started flourishing. Now, brand and image management is added as a new branch of media. So here are some businesses where some entered the market as media business. The newspapers and news agencies, magazine publishers, then Wi-Fi newsletter publishing business, video production, television production business, online booking, music recording business, data as recovery service, magazine journalist, video production, the YouTube channel, video bloggers. So now we have entered into the new platform of not only this broadcast, new era that new media is known as OTT, over the top technology, where we are watching the films like in Amazon, Netflix, Woot. There are a number of platforms. It depends on the country. What we can see in our country is Amazon, um, Amazon, Netflix, Z5, and there are many you can list out. So in this OTT platform has become okay. Can anyone tell this OTT platform comes under which, especially in the media personalization, which comes under which level of uh, advertising? No, you see, no, I am asking the OTT itself. I am not telling the advertisement which are inserted in the OTT. I am telling even the OTT itself. There are no ads in OTT. I am asking about the OTT itself. So what is advertised in OTT? The content. The content produced is their asset. So they are asking for the registration, and they will be identified our audience members. They have identified the audience members individually. Now they are delivering the content online and mobile content delivery using these interactive television channels where you can set up. That's it about for today. That's it about for today. Just a minute. Just a minute, please hold on line. If you have any questions, you can post here. There is no any questions. Shall we wind up today's class? Nil column. So in nil column, you can see what are the platforms that have been mentioned in the nil column is broadcast television. That's why they have mentioned it as metropolitan newspapers, cable television in general, radio, and podcast, internet. They mentioned everything, even mobile delivery, interactive television, IPTV, podcast, magazine, cable television, radio. These broadcast television and newspapers are, what is it? Most and advertising done on this medium are not personalized. Okay, it is not focused in personalized because it is not currently possible, because the personalized content on mass distribution channels such as broadcast television and newspapers, it's not possible to personalize content. So that's why they put it in as a nil column, that is content oriented, demographic oriented, and individual oriented are the other three elements of key drivers of personalization. And this nil you can't identify as the mass medium like broadcast television and newspapers. So it is not possible to personalize the content on mass distribution channel. Okay, will we stop here?
So, that means it is not possible to personalize the channel, but we can personalize the content. Is that what they're trying to say? I'm not sure.
No, if your personalization, okay, the personalization is not from the producer's point of view. See how you can provide a personalized content. It has to be from the consumer or customer point of view. Okay, because here what are the discussions are like a business. So business has to be what they say the Peter Drucker suggestion for advertiser. Advertising should create the purpose of advertising. Just a minute. The purpose of advertising. That is that Peter Drucker suggested. Just a minute.
Okay.
Peter M. Drucker. Is to create customers. So the personalization from the point of view of the customers. Okay, even the personalized, who knows what they are doing. Okay, this I think this we have discussed. I think this we have discussed in the television production. The content, why they are telling it as an idiot box. Okay, because the people behind the camera and people behind the technology, they producing things and they are putting what they're creating. They are not giving what the audience, the viewers want. So that's why it's known as the idiot box. Some have criticized the television like that. Here, the content personalization from the customer point of view, the consumer point of view, is not possible to a greater extent in this broadcast television and even metro newspapers. That is the issue. But if it is targeted towards what you say, that's why we have coined the two term. No, if you look back to the broadcasting and narrowcasting, no, what we are having in our mobile is now narrowcasting. All these OTTs are narrowcasting because it is this the content is available on the server. What do you see? What I am watching is not what the a person next to me is watching. But the OTT will be the same. If it is Amazon Prime, no, that is narrowcasting. The broadcasting, no, content will be common and same to the broad people. So it has been casted to the broad section of people. Content will be one, the receiver will be many. How we can say the content is a personalized content? For example, if I
So
tell
there
you,
are channel and lifestyle channel, music channel,
yeah,
regional channel.
yeah, yeah. Some should I tell like you're telling about that phone-in programs, calling a channel and asking for content, no?
No, sir. There are different channels like Chutti TV, Aditya TV, Sun TV, Sun News, Sun Music.
Yeah,
They are personalized, right, sir?
they are specialized. You see, there are you see if you take the television broadcast and television channels, no, GEC, that is general entertainment channels are there, and
Okay.
like 20 news channels are there. One the channels will do produce only 24 hours news. Okay, or
Okay.
not exactly news. They will do news oriented business, news oriented content. Okay, GEC like Sun Network and other channels, Chutti TV, that all these kids specialized kids oriented channels and music oriented channels. Again, that's a mass medium. Okay, who knows whether the target audience using is actually a kid? Even many of the adults know they are watching this Dora Buji, all these sort of programs. No, it doesn't know.
Yes.
But the most of the people are because from the producer's point of view, we are not sure and what you say. We are not sure that the actual content was used by the people who intend to watch. We doesn't know. We are
Mhm.
delivered, but we go. But we how do we know? That is what they call. You see, I mean, that is how the in advertising agencies they used to do market research. What is market research? Just knowing the impact and impact of the advertising only. The company has spent some money on any Colgate toothpaste or any other product. No, then how do they know whether this advertising is effective or not? Or the people are buying the product because of this advertising, or maybe some other factors will be there. No, how they will be knowing that only because of the advertisement that we have broadcasted in the television channels, our advertising is getting increased. That is not sure, no, that's why they used to do market research. Market research is getting the customer's pulse. That just exact, if you want to say in simple term, no, it's a feedback.
Mhm.
But with the feedback information, they are doing analysis, no, that's why it's research. In that feedback they are asking about information from you, certain questions, and with that information they are taking it to the next level. That is what you say, the analyzing certain things and coming back to know the not to know your pulse. You say there what is their objective, no, just want to know the effectiveness of the not only the product, the effectiveness of the media, effectiveness of the advertising, because after that only they will be spending allotting their budget to the next year for advertising revenue. If that is not working out now, why they as we have discussed, the mass media is the highest paid content distributor. Then why should they spend if they are not getting any effect on that television advertisements? So that is a market research. Okay. As I said, no, the specialized channels, we don't know whether actually the user is using that particular channel or not. But all these OTT and all this, what you say, uh, mobile hand devices, no, will be knowing who is using what.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think many have left. Any of you people just pass the information. With this media management model as media as a business, I think this is a first uh, uh, chapter or first thing that we are getting. No, so it will be a bit confusing because we have been learning all these media related concepts and all. The first time we are getting into the business, that's why this thing. But I think still we will continue this what you say media models for 2-3 sessions, and we will take
Okay.
individual case studies and we will discuss. Okay. And what I want to inform you people is be prepared and ready for do case study analysis of media management. Okay, from next class or to 2-3 classes, we will do what you say the case study of different media businesses. And don't worry, I will give you the clear instructions how to do case studies, and then we will start doing case studies of different media industries. Okay, that will become your assignments also. Okay, I think the follow up of today's class, the media management model introduction, media business models, will be served as a cues for you for in the Wednesday's class. Are you okay with that quiz?
Yes, sir. We are okay.
Arun Prasad,
Sir?
are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, are you okay with that quiz? Okay.
Sir?
And Vishnu, what happened to you? I want to hear your voice. You're just messaging yes, sir. Vishnu, just pass the information who has left from the class about the what you say the case studies that we will do it for 2 to 3 classes about the media business, media different media houses and media business. Is Vishnu there or someone else logged in? Because you see, it is like a business model. Each and every strategy, every time you have to develop. It has to be. Vishnu, are you there? He not only mute. Yes. Why only text? Audio not working. Then what you will be doing for this past 45 minutes? Vishnu,
Sir, I think he is saying mic is not working.
mic is not working, but you're listening now. Mic is not working. Very smart response. Okay, then you can show your face. Vishnu, no issues. You can show your face. I'm going to select people randomly, ask them to show their face in the class. Vishnu, your camera is working? Or, camera is working or not? Then you can show your face and tell hi to your classmates. That they are also missing you a lot.